Assalamu alaikum. A very good afternoon to everyone. This is Faisal Nadeem from AMP, Association of Muslim Professionals. A very warm welcome to everyone. Topic for today we are here for AMP Free Employability Training Program. Topic for today is Careers in Disruptive Era. I would now do a short presentation about AMP. AMP India Foundation is a non-for-profit organization registered under Section 8 of the Companies Act 2013, Government of India, for providing voluntary social service to meet the needs of underprivileged individuals, that is, upliftment of the underserved and needy through educational and vocational training, employment support, medical relief, economic empowerment, student mentorship, and guidance. The above services are provided to needy individuals irrespective of caste, creed, and religion. Employment Assistance Cell. Keeping in mind of AMP core objective of supporting the underprivileged, promoting education, and creating economic empowerment, AMP had launched a special project named Employment Assistance Cell, and today it is one of the core projects of AMP. Major EAC activities. Our major EAC activities include job fairs, job drives, employability training programs in colleges, skill training company tie-ups, candidate mobilization, skill development courses. Job fairs. Job fair is one of the flagship projects of AMP, and we have successfully organized 43 plus job fairs till date. Every job fair has participation of minimum 50 companies and 2,000 plus candidates. AMP has organized job fairs in the past in collaboration with Thane Police, Aurangabad Police, West Bengal Minority Finance Development Corporation, Andhra Pradesh State Minorities Finance Corporation, and other reputed NGOs. Job drives. Job drives are similar to job fairs but organized on a much smaller scale compared to job fairs. In a job drive, we typically invite only up to 2 to 3 corporates who have specific openings and advertise their openings profiles in order to attract suitable candidates. Employability Training Program. ETP is developed by the AMP to assist job seekers find the right job at the right place at the right time. We team up with the colleges in different cities and conduct ETP programs online as well as offline. Our training programs will cover the following: personality development, effective civic writing, interview techniques, job searching strategies. It aims to create awareness and groom young graduates who are aspiring to be professionals. Skill training companies tie-ups. AMP has partnered with reputed skill training companies like Tata Trust, World Food Tech Mahindra Foundation, etc. We have also arranged skill training melas in Mumbai by inviting around 20 skill training companies to hire and train unskilled candidates who could not pursue their higher studies after 10th and 12th standard. Candidate mobilization. AMP has mobilized candidates for various skill development courses like home appliances technician, safety technician, mobile repairing technician, and solar engineering under Skill India Mission centers all across India. Our achievements: employment assistance, 43 plus job fairs, out of which 9 online job fairs, 275 plus job fairs, out of which 29 online job drives, 220 plus employability training programs, out of which 37 online ETPs, 100 plus mock interviews in colleges, 25,000 plus candidates placed in jobs. Career fairs. Organized 6 career fairs, benefited 1,50,000 plus students. Our new initiative, empowersjobs.com. Connect the right talent with the right opportunity. Empowersjob.com was launched on 6 December 2020. It is a unique job portal with comprehensive offerings introduced by AMP India Foundation for job seekers, especially those hit by the COVID pandemic. Thank you, everyone. Now, I would like to request Amjad sir to please give a brief description about the college.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I request all the students to mute their mic. I think some disturbances are coming. Okay, thank you very much. I welcome, first of all, the Faisal sir, AMP India, for organizing this seminar for our students of Theme College of Engineering. Then, special thanks to today's guest of honor, Muhammad Zamir Ahmed sir. I want to have a brief introduction of the sir. That Zamir sir is a versatile international resource with over 17 years of experience in training and development. He is also a career counselor, consultant teacher, and also an award assessor, has been assessed award like Dubai Quality Award. Dynamic professional with 17 years of experience across various functions. MBA graduate certifications in training, career counseling, and quality assessment. He has trained more than 15,000 students, 35 plus of corporate employees, and more than 50 plus different nationalities both in India as well as in Dubai. I welcome you, sir, and thank you for addressing our students. I introduce our institute as we are from Theme College of Engineering, is a premier institute of Mumbai University. Is a renowned in technical education in Maharashtra since 2009. The infrastructure of our college is one of the best in Western region. It is affiliated to Mumbai University and approved by AICTE with B+ grade in NAC accreditation. We are NAC accredited institute. It has more than 2,000 engineering students till now awarded from our institute, completed their graduation and are working in the various organizations. So on this is all about, we have 8 branches of engineering we have, and this is all about Theme College of Engineering. I welcome you, sir, from bottom of my heart. And I request you to please address our students.
Thank you, Amjad sir. Thank you for the introduction. Now I would introduce the speaker for today, Mr. Mohammad Zamir Hussain sir. I would now like to welcome Mr. Zamir sir to please start the session. So I think there is a technical problem. He will be with us within a second. Okay. So I would now introduce Mohammad Zamir sir to please start the session and take over. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Theme Engineering College. So, as Faisal has already introduced me, I'm Mohammad Zamir here, and I'll be sharing some of my thoughts with you all today. And it's a privilege, and I'm really grateful and glad AMP has given me this opportunity to share the learning platform with you all today. So let me start quickly, directly jumping onto the subject without wasting any time. And somehow I'm feeling very delighted to have 100+ students listening to us today. Okay, so something, it's a very big number. Okay, so let me start the subject. Okay, before I start the subject, let me ask you a question, all of you. I hope there is a chat box, you all know that. And my first question to you all is, how chance and how many of you are by choice? Choice means you are decided a year or two before that you will get into engineering. And there could be some who have because they couldn't get into some other field, at the last they decided they will come into engineering. So this is by chance. So quickly, if you can put me in the chat box, is it by chance or by choice that you are here?
Rajput Rohit had said by my choice. Sriraj Chirikuram said by choice. Jay by choice. So many people said by choice.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really nice. Okay, so I'm really glad. I'm happy that I'm meeting people who are by choice into this in this stream of education. So that's really nice. Otherwise, most of us we have seen this movie, all of us, and we know sometimes there are somebody else who will decide as to what we become in life. Right? So we have certain influencers, we have certain mentors or our parents who have certain dreams about us, and they simply say oh, mera beta engineer banega, right? So thank God, most of us have by choice we are here. So let's move further. So now I know what kind of choices people I am talking to. Okay, so let's move further within the subject. Okay, 20 years back when we were supposed to career, at that time the thing was there were limited career options. Okay, if I talk about 20 years back, there were very limited options for people to study, for people to work. Okay, it was a very simple thing at that time. But at that time also the thing was there was huge demand and for the vacancies opening in the market, and there was less supply. There were very few colleges, people didn't they were not getting the higher education as expected by the industry. So so that it was huge demand but less supply. Okay, but nowadays if we talk about after 20 years, okay, we have more than 180+ career choices. Okay, 180+ career choices. But at the same time, now what the challenge has become is we have huge supply also. Every year we have more than 6 lakh people becoming engineer throughout the country. Okay, more than 30 lakh graduates entering into the job market every year, right? And because of this, at times we have seen some people studying engineering and getting into working into bank or some other clerical job or some other job also. Okay, so this is what, like, is what I call as a wastage of time, wastage of efforts, wastage of the precious seed which you possibly have taken by, like, not making somebody else to get that engineering seat, right? So that is a challenge. Like, if we have determined that we are going to make this, we are going to study engineering and will make our career as engineer, so we must be determined. Okay, so this session is possibly AMP has helped us to design, is to, like, help us to see the future clearly. Okay, so that we will be, like, in the same line. We will not jump after engineering from here to there. Okay, so for that reason, let me talk about the tallest building in the world, tower in the world. Okay, I know I'm talking to all the engineers, right? Which is the tallest building in the world? In the chat box, if you can put quickly put across. Sure, we will surely share the recording. Okay, yeah, most of us given it very right. It is the Burj Khalifa. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you for your previous participation. Thank you for your participation now. I'm delighted to have a, like, interactive audience like you. So if you talk about Burj Khalifa, which is 161 floor tall building, which is 0.9 kilometer, like, from the ground. Okay, but it cannot be constructed without a proper foundation, right? A solid foundation is required. In fact, a very deep inside, like, the foundation was made before that building was, like, constructed. So now for us also, if we want to be that dream engineer, okay, if you want to have a, like, a successful career as an engineer, what is that foundation about? That foundation has, as you can see in the slide here, which I'm showing you, it has got three basic things. One is your knowledge, right? You are in one of the best colleges of India, okay, having engineering, your qualification, and you're getting good knowledge here. Definitely, there are certain skills also. The practical part, what you're getting, that is your skills also. But along with that, there are some other skills also, okay, which I'll be speaking in, in no time. And also very important is our attitude, our behavior towards life, towards profession, towards our fellow beings, okay, for everybody. Okay, so for that reason, let's see now what are the knowledge. Okay, if I talk about skills, as I said, you, no doubt there are some technical skills what possibly you would be acquiring in engineering, but at the same time you need to spend time and acquire some soft skills. Okay, in fact, soft skills, very soon the industry want to change the name from soft skills to essential skills. That means soft skills are so essential, they want to call it as essential skill. Everybody must have it, whether you're a doctor, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a pilot, whatsoever. Every profession must have these soft skills. Attitude towards life, attitudes about us. Okay, so for that, self-motivation, self-confidence, like the adapting optimism, being optimistic, like, which we require. Okay, that's the attitude towards life. And definitely your own theories, your own basics, your formulas, fundas, whatever possibly you might have so far acquired in engineering. Okay, success. But very important is whatever is named here, how many we can write in our CV years about engineering. But how about those soft skills? How about those attitudinal skills? Okay, do I possess that? Can I write that in my CV? Okay, if you write that, definitely there will be questions around that. Right, so that would be there in the interview. Definitely you will be asked questions to prove that you have those skills or you have that attitude or not. Okay, so but for us to have a very high rise career, this is a triangle of, like, success. We must work on this triangle. Only one-sided, like, success is not enough. Even the industry, the corporate world is challenging even for the topper in your batch, topper in your university. Okay, even for them also it is stretching. So definitely for somebody who is average scorer, definitely the corporate world will be very stretching, very challenging. Okay, so for that, to make it easy, you need to work on this triangle of success. Okay, have that all-round development of your personality. Okay, acquire proper knowledge, acquire skills, acquire and have that attitude towards life and everything else. Okay, with these expectations that you will be acquiring all those things, and by now you must be having to a larger extent, but whatever is here and there missing, it's high time that we cover those gaps before we complete our graduation here, before we complete our engineering. Okay, now next thing is, I hope because you all are from engineering stream, you all are aware of this industrial revolutions which have happened, okay, since the time the mankind exists and the industry started, right? So industry 1.0, where the mechanization, steam power, okay, weaving loom machines all came into existence. And then this started somewhere in 1780s. Okay, and it was prevailing for almost 90 years, we can say a century. Okay, and then came industry 2.0, wherein we are talking about mass production, we are talking about assembly line, we are talking about electrical energy being used for for the major operations in the industry. Okay, so now even this also from 1870s, it lasted up till 1970s, another century. Okay, then came the industry revolution 3, the industry 3.0 so called, where we have automation, where we have computers, electronics playing a vital role in the industrial production. Now with this, from 1970, if we can talk about, it would hardly last not for a century this time, it lasts only for half a century, say 50 years. But now the era is of industry 4.0, where we have cyber physical systems, internet of things, networks, artificial intelligence, robotics, okay, data science and whatnot. Now there are so many things which have changed the landscape of industry. And definitely the input for industry comes from the university and colleges. So they also have to upgrade. Most of our colleges are upgraded. Most of us are getting the up-to-date knowledge. Okay, but still this industry 4.0 is very dynamic. It's changing so rapidly. It's changing so quickly. As we are talking, we can expect changes. And at times it has become very difficult to define as to when industry 5.0 will start, because every day this disruption, every day these changes are occurring. Okay, every now and then these changes are occurring. So that is going to possess many challenges to us. Okay, so before I go to the next slide, one big message which I want to give to all my 143 plus friends who are here. Okay, my simple suggestion to all of you is, please do not expect that one day on a particular date your engineering will get over. That's the day it will be a last day as a student, and from that day onwards, next day you will get into the corporate world, your earning will start, you are an employee, forget it. Okay, definitely the corporate world, but your student life will not stop. Because of this industry changes happening so rapidly, your education will never stop. Or if you stop your education, you are stopping your growth. If you're stopping your education after your engineering, you're stopping your growth. So you have to keep learning, whether before you get your job, after you get your job, keep yourself up to date. Okay, keep yourself up to date about what the latest trends which are happening. Otherwise, sooner or later, one machine will throw you out from your job. Okay, so that's the important thing which I want to highlight with this slide, is that our learning is not going to stop. Our learning will remain continuous. Okay, so what are the technologies which are changing the landscape of industry nowadays? We have cybersecurity, we have cloud computing, we have the mobile technology. Everywhere the mobile has playing a penetrated into our life. Okay, every walk of life we have mobile now. Okay, machine to machine communication, that's another important aspect which is changing the landscape of industry. We have 3D printing coming. 3D printing, when it becomes popular, it is accepted, it is a large scale thing, then possibly we can see 3D printing affecting every common man, because it will be of so much of use when 3D printing becomes more accessible to the crowd. Okay, advanced robotics, okay, big data analytics, okay, internet of things, and all these technologies will day in, day out are changing, and future also they will keep on changing the industry landscape. Okay, I know because you are from engineering, you are possibly quite in acquaintance with this terminology and all, but when I keep talking to other friends of yours from the other different streams, they feel it like something alien, something alien science I'm talking about. Okay, but I'm lucky today that I have a intelligent crowd. Now moving forward, these are the skills which the World Economic Forum and the other boards feels that our younger generation should be imbibed, should be given from a very the national education policy. These skills will be started to be given to the child from a very younger age, say 6th standard or 9th standard onwards. Okay, we were unlucky that we couldn't get these things when we were back in schools, right? But now that we are in college, tomorrow we'll get into the corporate world. Okay, we are happy-go-lucky? No, because these skills are still in demand. So first of all, we must check whether do we have these skills. And tomorrow, when these people who are studying these skills in the school will come and compete with you, say after 5 years or after 10 years. Okay, so you must not only acquire these skills by then, you must be expert by then. Next one is these are the again World Economic Forum, which they says that these are the top 10 skills which will be in demand in the corporate world by 2025, whatever which are being demanded by the industry in 2025. Okay, so as I said, some time back also, here also we have a list of 10 skills. Now we must see as a person to enter the corporate world very soon. Out of this 10 skills, whatever mentioned here, at least 6 we must have. Okay, otherwise our job will be at stake. One or the other technology, one or the other machine will take our job away. Like many people were crying somewhere in 1998, 2000 or till 2005 that the computers are taking the job away, especially the people who were typing or who were doing the typewriting job, right? The computers straight away took their job for most of the people, unless until they upgraded themselves, right? If they upgraded, they survived. If they didn't upgrade, they didn't. Okay, so they lost their jobs. So now the same thing, we have a very similar phase now is of artificial intelligence. Now artificial intelligence is also taking many people's job away. Okay, so for that reason, my simple advice by talking all these skills to you people is that we must become a friend of this new technology. We must get onto the side of this technology so that our job will be saved. How to do that? So you must know artificial intelligence. You must know how artificial intelligence works. You must be in a position to program artificial intelligence. Okay, or you must be one of the person who is giving that brains to the artificial intelligence machine. Then you have a job. You have a very flourishing job. Okay, but if you're afraid of artificial intelligence, it will take your job away, and you're not getting involved. You're not getting friendship with the technology. For sure, that technology will take your job. Okay, so for that reason, these skills are listed here for us to become friend, for us to acquire these skills, for us to acquire this knowledge and not stop. Okay, and keep acquiring this knowledge every now and then, keep expanding our knowledge horizon as and when the year and the time passes. Okay, so here is again from the World Economic Forum in the same report for the previous years. They happen to highlight what are the declining skills and what are the upcoming skills which are getting in demand, which are the skills which are growing, right? Analytical thinking, active learning, okay, creativity is good, which technology will not take away from you. Okay, critical thinking and analysis, complex problem solving. These are the skills which are huge in demand. Okay, in the coming years, this is still increasing. Okay, and the declining ones, the manual work. Okay, the memory work. Systems are there to do all these things. Okay, technology installation and maintenance. These are also losing popularity because the technology is so advanced nowadays. The machines are least required to go for maintenance, least required to go for expert person to come and install. They are coming with do-it-yourself manuals, and anybody and everybody, any common layman can install, configure the machine and use it, right? So that way, these are the declining jobs. So if you have acquired these skills, which are there on the gray area, please, these skills will not help you to get a bigger salary job or may also will not be helpful for you to even get a job also. But the ones which are blue, that's your blue ocean strategy. Okay, so please get onto that side. We must acquire, like, many of those skills which I mentioned there out of these 10 growing skills. Okay, let's continue further, because we were to discuss about disruptive technologies and some careers, how it will change the landscape. Okay, so for that reason, again, before we move to the next topic, here it is saying that which are the declining jobs and which are the jobs on rise. Okay, on per thousand basis, like, how much they are increasing and how much they are decreasing. Okay, this is just information for you. And as promised before, these slides you'll be getting. Okay, you can contact Faisal and Faisal will share the slides with you. Okay, continuing further now, couple of jobs which are getting in demand. Okay, big data architect. Now big data architects are getting so much in demand. Let me give a practical example, is that if you are having a mobile and you are logging into Gmail, Google, and to use the Google Play Store. Okay, so once you are, like, getting into that mobile and you're getting into Google Play Store, you're creating an ID on Google. Now what Google is doing, for every user, Google has got 500 data points, approximately 500 data points. So they are collecting 500 different like, numbers and statistics about you, where you are living. Okay, whether you're walking, whether you're standing, whether you're running. Okay, what you are usually browsing. Okay, what you're usually searching. Okay, what apps you are using, what websites you are opening. Okay, there are so many things which Google, like, try to capture the data from the various applications what Google is providing. Okay, one thing very important we all must understand as engineers is, when something is free, you are the money. When something is free, you are the money. We think that WhatsApp is free, but WhatsApp is observing so many things what we do day in, day out. We think Facebook is free. Facebook is noticing, like, so many things, whatever we are doing. So we are the data, we are the money for them. And we are thinking that software, that app, that website is free for us. But unfortunately, the cost is your own privacy. Okay, so now this data is required by the organizations to give the kind of advertisements or give the kind of information to the users. So now we have these data architects who will take this 500 data points, data, analyze and give meaningful reports to the marketing department, to the, like, business development team, to the organization, so that they can come up with different products. They can market the products in different ways, right? So like this, there are different jobs which have got created nowadays. We have automation technicians, we have renewable energy engineers. Okay, renewable energy, we all know this is gonna be in huge demand in future, right? Automation engineers, we have organization development. Okay, thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Naveen, for that input. Okay, so new technology specialists. Okay, IT administrators. Now these are the jobs which are getting huge in demand. Okay, the ones which are getting declined are those jobs which are getting killed. Team assemblers, secretaries, inspectors, testers, all these jobs are dying day by day. Day by day, these jobs are dying. Okay, so even this is changing the landscape, not only in the industry side, even on the government side. Trust me, the government jobs are also changing. I hope you are observing that in and around happening when the job vacancies are coming in the newspaper and other places about the new vacancies in the government sector. Even in the government sector, we have now data scientists. Even in the government sector, we have, like, automation engineers required. Okay, so it's not only the private field, even in the government field it is changing. Okay, so here is a quick list of various, like, jobs which are there in the demand. This is not again from World Economic Forum, but we have a Robert Half salaries guide. So they have worked on this and they say that these are the 13 jobs which are in demand, okay, in the current years. Okay, number one, mobile application developer. Huge demand, I'm telling you. There are mobile application developers. They are making money starting around 1 lakh, 2 lakhs per month to even 5 lakhs per month also. Okay, data architect, no limit. If you get as an employee, company will squeeze you and give you one salary. But if you work as a consultant, as a data architect, I'm telling you, you can make a lot of money. The only thing is your time and your efforts, how much time and how much efforts you can put to analyze the data and give the reports to the company. Okay, we have DevOps engineers, we have compliance manager, we have the UX designer and UI designer, user exchange and user interface designer. They are getting very popular nowadays. Okay. And if you don't know what is this UI and UX, my dear friend, please go back and do homework. Okay. This UI and UX designer are for all the apps, whatever we are using. Right. This is one such engineer who has made this WhatsApp status. The moment you keep status, will you be happy? No. You'll be satisfied? No. You want to go back again and again and check within the 24 hours how many people are checking your status. Right now, that's the user exchange programmer would do. He will keep you so involved that often and often you come back. You get a time to stop at a signal for 15 seconds, but within that 15 seconds, you want to open your mobile and check how many people have checked your status. Getting it? So that is the user exchange, user interface. So friendly it is made, so logical it is made. Even a kid can use, but at the same time, so engaging that we want to come back again and again. So this is a UX designer who is designing such environment. Okay, they are designing the games. They're designing the games features so that you get addicted. You get not only used to it, you get addicted and you come back and play those games again and again. Right? So these are the people who are changing our lives, but are we one among them? If we are one among these 13 people, definitely we have huge and big future for us. Industry will give you a red carpet welcome. Okay, so that way we must upgrade ourselves as to where we are heading. Definitely engineering will sooner or later will end, but within this time, are we industry ready? My big advice to all the engineering friends here is, please do not take your project, your final year project, final sem project as something which is passing of time. No, that's your bridge between your theoretical knowledge and your practical knowledge, or you getting onto the corporate world. One side is corporate world, one side is your theoretical knowledge. That's the practical knowledge as a student you will acquire. After that, there is no practice. It's all reals from there. So please do your project very seriously. Okay. So continuing further, talking about jobs, one thing I want to highlight to all my friends here, I am happy to see the numbers increasing. It is somewhere touching more than 160 now. Okay. Thank you, Theme College, for this wonderful audience. Okay. So let's now talk with the slide. It says, what is a job? What is a career? Okay. I would be happy to listen at least 2-3 people and answering. If you can, in 1 or 2 lines, if you can tell me in the chat box as to what is job, what is career. What do you think? Nothing, no right or wrong answer. Whatever you think raw, please write it in the chat box. What is a job? What is a career? Whatever you feel. No answer right, wrong. What is a job? What is a career? If I am able to help you to get distinguished between these two things, I think my today's webinar will be a huge success. Okay. Job is something you finish a certain task. Very good. Job is something you earn only money. Wow, Yuvraj, lovely definition. Okay, now it's going so fast, I have to run around and read it. Okay. Job is like a task. Job is one thing which you have to whether or concentralize. Okay, job is what we love to do or earn. Job is for money, career is for future. Wow, I like this definition. Pradyaman. Okay. Job can be temporary, career can be that come along with you and make you a good future. Okay, very good. Fine, fantastic. Thank you everybody for that lovely responses. It's still popping up. I'll read it before we close the chat later on. Okay, before we close the webinar, I want to really read the things, whatever you have mentioned there. Okay, so thank you everybody. Unfortunately, I cannot read everyone's. Okay, but I got an idea that you have a fair idea as to about what is job, what is career. Okay, task. For you, the money is matters most. So if that is the case, then you are doing a job. Okay. And that is for that particular, it can happen that you're doing one job in one company and you get into some other job, you do some other job, some other company. So that means the job is something which is not getting carried over, but career is something which is getting carried over. Okay, irrespective of the industry, irrespective of the job. Okay, So as we can see, read from this slide, job is a short-term pursuit, whereas a career is a long-term pursuit, where most of our friends have answered. Okay, earning money is often the main driver, but passion or sense of fulfillment is the main driver. Okay, if you ask me, okay, when I was doing my graduation, at that time I had decided, or in fact before that I decided I'll become a trainer in the corporate world. Okay, and I have never satisfied with any other job. I was offered a job in quality wherein I was possibly getting a salary of 80%. Okay, if my salary is 10,000, it would jump to 18,000. Okay, but then also never got, I've never gone for that. This is what, a career, because I wanted to become a trainer. That's my passion. That will give me a kind of fulfillment in life. Okay, now this is something good because of the heart factor, but I'll tell you the brain factor as to why you shouldn't work for job, why you should strive for career. Okay, definitely your heart will be very happy if you go for career, not go for job. You'll have a work-life balance. You'll be happy of what you're doing. Okay, but also one more thing very important is, okay, there is the work-life culture which is changing now. Okay, and more so because of this pandemic, it has suddenly increased a lot. Okay, this was happening, okay, in certain countries this was happening, but now every part of the world knows these things now because of the pandemic. Okay, the pandemic has made us to realize this more. What is that? Number one, the live and work anywhere in the world will be become a kind of norm nowadays. Okay, it's not required that every day you must go to office. Banks are taking it very seriously because they have seen the call center people. They have they were calling all the employees at one place to work, but now because of pandemic they made them to work from home, and now this work from home has worked out beneficial for the corporate world. They need not spend so much of money in having an office, internet connection, so much of infrastructure and everything. They are giving some extra amount to the employees and asking them to work from home only. You want a laptop, you want a chair, you want a table, you want a good internet connection, okay, we'll give you money. Work from home. Okay, so that way they are saving a lot of money. So that way, in the coming years, what will happen is you can live anywhere, you can work anywhere. It's not necessary that you have to work in Mumbai, you have to be in Mumbai. To work in Pune, Pimpri Chinchwad, you have to be in Pimpri Chinchwad. No, it's not necessary anymore. You can be anywhere, you can work anywhere. Okay, as this pandemic has also made it possible. Okay, also further will be people want to travel a lot, they want to change their work. Okay, and also enjoy the earning potential. They don't want to be restricted to salary. Now, how is this possible? Because if you're working for salary, you will get that fixed salary, come what may. But many of us have that comfort zone attitude, chalta hai attitude, that din jane do, pagar aane do. Somehow make the month complete, 30 days over, salary will come. Okay, but gone are those days. There are many people who are aspiring to earn more. To aspire more, to earn more, you have to work more. How to work more? Don't work for one company. Okay, work for your passion, work for different companies. Okay, work for your passion and let your passion get the money for you. So if that is the case, then you are having a very bright future, because in the future, these are the trends which are getting more popular. So talking more about, you'll have peers from across the globe. Outsourcing thing will become very often, or sometimes you can outsource the thing to somebody else. You take the work from some company and you outsource to somebody else. Okay, so like this, the things are changing very rapidly in the industry, and this whole landscape which is getting changed, there is a term which is given for that called as gig economy. Now this gig economy is talking about day by day the freelancers increasing and the full-time employees reducing. The corporate is also loving it because full-time employees means they have to pay huge money as salary. But when they hire freelancer, it is against the work. Get the work done, pay the money. Get the work done, pay the money. So this is good for the corporate also. For the employees, it is becoming good because I need not spend 9 to 5 in the office. I need not work all the 6 days of the week. I can work whenever I like, daytime, nighttime, okay, or sometimes at a stretch, right? There are some countries which are made that 5 days a week, 4 days a week. Some countries have, some software companies have given a choice to the employees. In a week, you work for 40 hours. We are least bothered rest of the hours what you do. Somehow you complete 40 hours, whether it is 8 hours in one day, 6 hours in one day, or 12 hours in one day. But in a week, if you work for 40 hours, 48 hours, it is enough for them. So like this, the gig economy is becoming more and more popular. I was in Dubai recently, and we got to know that Dubai has now started giving visa for freelancers. Earlier, it was only employees who can go in Dubai and work. But nowadays, Dubai is giving visa for freelancers. So as a freelancer, you can go, you can work, you can earn there, and you work for multiple companies there. You get the work done, you get money paid, right? So like this, there are every country will sooner or later will adapt to this technology, this new change in the industry. So that is why for us, it is very important that we should not work for job. We should work for career. If you're a trainer, you can work for any industry, any company. If you're a programmer, you can work for any industry, any company, right? So that way, the latest trends which are happening is pushing us to go on this side. We don't have much data about India for now, but we have some relevant numbers from US, where they says that 36% or 57.3 million workers in the US are in the gig economy. 36% people are freelancers, consultants. Nice title given to them is consultants. Okay, 29% of all workers have their alternate job as their primary job. So they are running a store, okay, and their primary job has become a secondary job for them. In the night, they will do programming, coding from home. Okay, so like this, their primary job has become secondary and secondary job has become primary. 29%. Okay, in 2018, full-time independent workers generated $1.28 trillion dollars, 1.28 of revenue for the US economy. So like this, the landscape of industry is changing. Okay, so it's very important that we change our focus from job to career. As a freelancer also, I can work, I can start my own startup, I can work as an employee also. But if I can start something business of my own, then why not? Okay, I can work at my time, my place, my way, why not? Okay, so that's gonna make the gig economy more popular. Okay, and people are making it possible day in, day out, and we have the reasons here. Okay, 55% make extra money on the side. 22% says that only way to make an income. 48% says that balancing career and family is very good under the gig economy. Okay, 19% says that earning while seeking a better job. I am still searching a job. Meanwhile, let me work as freelancer. Okay, 48% autonomy and control. I am not working under anybody. I am my own boss. So 48% people like this. Like for this reason, they like the gig economy. Okay, so these numbers are for US for now. Okay, I have a very small number for India, but coming days, this will be relevant in Indian context also, right? So for that reason, we need to understand that if you're talking about a child who is getting admitted into the first standard, okay, first standard now, first to 10th, okay, 11वीं 12वीं, what we call the PUC 1 and PUC 2, okay, 12 years, then 3 years or 4 years or sometimes post-graduation. So like this, every individual, all of us are getting formal education for 14 to 16 years. Now in this 14 to 16 years, let's say a child who is getting admitted to first standard now, within this 14 to 16 years till the time he completes his graduation or post-graduation, whatever the 100 jobs are there today, okay, 66% jobs will remain or 33 jobs will die by then. Those 33 jobs will no more exist. There are new 33 jobs will come by then, right? If I am talking to a student from 8th standard now, trust me, by the time he completes his 5 years, that is 8 to 12th, and then his graduation, another 3, 4, or whatever the 5 years. Okay, so that means for 8 to 10 years, again, there will be around 16 or 17% jobs which will extinguish, and there will be there will be another 16, 17% of new jobs that will come in the market. So every day the job market is changing. We are having new jobs getting created. Okay, so for that reason, it's very important that what career I should make, where should I make my career. So number one, I'd like to highlight one more aspect to all my friends here is that please don't think that you get into this line as data scientist or artificial intelligence and machine learning, or this will get me better salary, this will get me better job. Okay, that would be there. Every segment has its own plus or minus or a certain range of salary what you can get in that particular field. Okay, but what's important is the earning capacity of that profession and your personality, your psychology matching to that, then you will have a flourishing career. Then you will have a very successful career. Don't jump into any job only because you get big salaries there. Okay, or don't be satisfied only with something which you like. Possibly if there is something which you like, maybe it will not get you so much of salary. Okay, so we need that intersection of two things, what you are passionate about, which would give you more salary today. Okay, and as I said you sometime back, be ready to upgrade yourself. And don't think that there will be one company, one job you will join, and after 30-35 years you will retire from that same company. Forget that. As per the gig economy booming day by day, this would never happen. Be ready to change your career, be ready to change your, like, industry very often. Okay, so that is what, like, it's getting more into demand. So that is what we call now something as, let's define that, what is a disruptive era. Okay, quickly let me know, have you come across this word disruptive technology? Manish says no. How many of you come across this term disruptive technology or the word disruption? Shubham says no. Neelam says no. Raj Purohit says no. Zia also says no. Right? Now, sometimes when we heard this word disruptive, it's a kind of negative word for all of us. Right? It's a negative word. But what is this disruptive technology? The disruptive technology is a term given to those things which comes and change the way that thing is used, or something which is already stable, it will completely change it. Example, we were all using computers just before, say, 1994, 92. Okay, we had something called as DOS operating system, command based operating system. Okay, the systems were working very fine, everybody was using those command based systems. Then suddenly came Windows operating system. Okay, the Windows operating system is the disruptive technology which changed the way the computer was used. It killed all the previous operating system, it became popular, and it changed all the future of the computer technology itself. Okay, another disruptive technology example, best example is Android software. Okay, Nokia was approached to buy Android or to use Android. They say, no, we are already so successful, we will not use. There's one Indian company by name Lava which used Android first in India. Okay, then Samsung bought Android. It changed, the way the mobile industry is working. Nokia suddenly went out of market and Samsung became so popular, right? Because they adapted Android technology. Now Android is a disruptive technology which changed the way the mobile was working. Okay, all the other operating systems out, Symbian, these, that, if you might have, I don't know whether you heard these names or not. So those softwares all, they died overnight and Android became popular, right? So like this, there are so many disruptive technologies which are coming and which is changing the industry landscape, which are changing the job landscape, which is changing the career landscape. Okay, so for that reason, it is very important that we should be aware of these disruptive technologies. And as I told you sometime before, we should make it our friend. Artificial intelligence is one such. Automation in the industry was one such. Okay, programming languages, some of the programming languages like C, when it came, it changed the way the programming languages were used. Nowadays, we have Scratch. Even a child can do coding using Scratch, block coding. Okay, so there are so many disruptive technologies which are advanced, which have come into our day-to-day life, and they are changing the complete landscape. As you can see here, whatever is a level of demand, suddenly the disruptive technology will come and kill all of them. Okay, and everybody gets into that mode only. They want only that technology. Okay, is it because sometimes it is because of the ease of use, sometimes it is because of the money, sometimes it is because of so many different things, but the disruptive things are getting popular day by day. Okay, so a couple of examples for you here. Estimated potential of these disruptions which will change the landscape by 2025. Mobile internet. Okay, then we have our automation of knowledge work. Okay, Internet of Things, cloud computing, advanced robotics. These are all those disruptive technologies which will change the landscape sooner or later. There is more such data which I think because you are not aware at this point of juncture, I cannot share it with you all. But I was lucky enough to work for one government project of Dubai, wherein I got to know about these things more before than many of my fellow citizens. Okay, but I feel it by my responsibility to share it with you all, that you must be quite aware of these things and how they will change. If you're thinking that I'll get into a civil engineering job and I will be going into the site and managing, trust me, there are civil engineers who are no more going to the site. It is getting automated, all the major works there, and people are, instead of people, there are machines which are working, very few laborers which are working, and people are sitting in their own office and then monitoring the sites. Okay, civil engineer working from remotely. Okay, they're using cloud computing, they're using the cloud technology, and they're monitoring the sites. Okay, so like this, there are so many things which are changing the landscape of industry, and this is what we call as a disruptive technology. And these disruptions will like, you know, either definitely it will make our life, definitely it has got some benefit for a larger crowd, that is why the industries want to adapt it. But for us to get the jobs, we must have that as one of the skills in our kitty, in our basket. Otherwise we will be obsolete, we will be no more in demand in the industry. Okay, so for that reason, it's very important that we choose our career, like, you know, wisely. Okay, look out for earnings, look out for the education level, diploma, engineering, PG, PhD. So education level change, the money will change, the earning capacity will change. Okay, Sophia want to share something. Sophia, Messenger was used before chatting. Okay, WhatsApp changed a lot of things, right? No doubt, WhatsApp is also one such disruptive technology. Okay, how many of you have seen the device pager? Have you seen or have you heard a device by name pager? Type yes or no. Jay says yes. Okay, Tanvir says yes. Bhavin says yes. Okay, some of you have said no also. Nehal says no. Okay, so that means pager was there for a very small period. Okay, the disruptive technology of, like, you know, the wireless communication and wireless communication of voice suddenly killed that voiceless text messaging. Okay, so that way it got killed. It didn't had much future. Hardly it lasted for 2 to 3 years in India. Okay, so that's why, no doubt, thank you for sharing that. That's also a very good example of a disruptive technology. Okay, so now very important for all of us is, like, you know, our earning depends upon our level of education. So number one, please acquire as much formal education. If you thought of stopping at engineering, please go up till PG. If you thought of stopping till PG, please go more further. Try to acquire more certification which are industry demanded. Sometimes the education curriculum, the university curriculum cannot be so up to date. There are some colleges which are trying to make all the efforts to give the up to date knowledge to the students, but still industry, as we discussed some time back, the industry 4.0 is so fast, so rapid, it is not allowing the institutes to, like, you know, cope up with that. So for that reason, we must have certain formal degree plus some additional industry demanded certifications, and we have to keep upgrading, as we have already discussed. Okay, think about your major, think about the occupation or the career you want to get into. Okay, and decide your life very carefully, very carefully. I have seen some people getting into some job after their graduation because they're not getting the job what they look for. After 5 years, they get a chance to come back to the thing what they studied, and then after another 5 years, they think that their, like, you know, theory whatever they studied is outdated. They have to study something new. So after 10 years of working in the corporate, they will study another 1 year, and then they will revamp themselves and again enter into the corporate world. Now, by doing this, first 15 years, you're still spending in the industry as a fresher only, at an entry level job. Then when you will become manager, when you will become supervisor, for that you need to have that, like, you know, plan well, then only we can achieve that. So for that reason, this, get into acquiring as much knowledge about the industry, what's the disruptive technologies are, how they are changing the landscape. You might have definitely seen Tesla car. You might have definitely seen this ad of some fan. I forgot the name of the fan, where they say it is not a ceiling fan, it's a feeling fan, right? So what is the feeling? There's an artificial intelligence involved into that. Now we have this MG car with even before getting into the car, via app or something, you can still give the command, okay, start the car, start the AC, even before you get into the car. Okay, we have those Tesla driverless cars. All these are changing landscape. If the Tesla like car comes everywhere, if that technology becomes huge success, then we will not have, like, you know, drivers. The vacancy or the opening of drivers will be, like, you know, killed. So these things are changing. So we must be aware and up to date as to what we are taking as our career. Okay, so a couple of things further. think about the money, what you will earn, what you will spend to educate yourself. Many of our friends who are in the student era, or especially the parents, they think that fees is something like, an expense. Trust me, the fees what you're like, investing in yourself as paying to the college or the institute or certification bodies, that is actually an investment in yourself. And that will be the best investment for yourself. Don't invest in car, don't invest in mobile, don't invest in other things. This is what you should buy when you earn. But for now, invest in knowledge, invest in skills. So whatever is fees you're paying is an investment in within you. Okay. And also look for efforts. Many people get into some course, but they don't know the efforts, required amount of efforts to pass that degree. And in between, they will leave that degree. Okay. And also very important is the future demand of that skill, what you're acquiring now. Okay. Don't get into that skills which are going to die very soon. Okay. So here I have something to share with you all, some industry insight, because I'm a career counselor also, apart from being a trainer. Okay. I do career counseling also. I help people from 8th standard up till even mid-career to decide their career. Okay. So here, if you talk about data scientist as a career, how much is a data scientist earning? Data scientists are earning approximately rupees 5.25 lakhs per year. Okay. I'm talking about average. There are certain people, there are certain people who are going up till even 1 million. That is what we call as a 10 lakhs, sorry, 1 lakh also, we can say 1 lakh also per month. Okay. That is also capacity for some people like this. So that's the potential of data scientist. Okay. Then we have artificial intelligence professionals. They are also earning around 5 lakhs per year. Okay. A very average I'm talking about. A very average I'm talking about. I think I skipped that point in the one of the previous slides, wherein it was talking about it's the passion actually for what you work. Okay. Let me give an example. There could be a civil engineer who is earning only 10,000 per month. At the same time, there could be another civil engineer who is earning around 1 lakh or 2 lakhs per month. So what does it indicate? It indicates that it is not the profession which makes the salary. It is also your own skills and ability also. Okay. So that way, if you're talking about average as 1 lakh as salary as a civil engineer, there are some engineers who are earning say 2 lakhs. There are some engineers who are earning even 10,000 also per month. That is why the average comes to 1 lakh. Okay. So that way, every such profession has a bandwidth within which you can make the money, or what is the minimum or maximum you can make the money in that profession. Okay. So for here, AI professionals, average is 5 lakhs per year. So it will be less than 50,000 per month. Okay. So that way, there are other professions we have our cyber security professionals getting huge demanded nowadays. Huge demand. Because if you have a commercial monetized site, you will collecting money from the customers. Definitely there will come 1 or 2 several hackers who want to hack your website. Because when the people are making payment, they want to hack those payments and they will take more money from the customers in your name. Right? So for that, the cyber security professional will come in between and they will try to protect your site from such hacking. Okay. So these people sometimes, and salaried salaried cyber security professional will earn around 5 lakhs per month, per year. But there are some professionals who are working as a freelancers, cyber security experts. They are making 5 lakh per month. They are making 5 lakh per month. I have my own friend who is earning somewhere between 8 lakhs to 10 lakhs per month being in India. He has got major clients from abroad. He's protecting their websites. Okay. He's protecting their data. Okay. Digital marketers, another popular field, getting day by day very popular. The bare minimum they are earning is 3 lakhs per year. Okay. And there is also no limit. There are housewives doing this course and working from home. My friends, if they are here, ladies friends who are studying engineering, and after the engineering, they want to work from home. This is one of the best job what you can do. No time constraint. Okay. You sit at home and you do digital marketing. You can take care of your house, family. You can at the same time earn also. Okay. So that's also another one which is getting very popular. We have UI UX the experts. They are also making some good money. Okay. And we also have other professions like content writer. Every industry needs content writer. Okay. So that's also a very booming field nowadays. Bloggers, video bloggers, Okay, those are also like earning good money. We also have video game designers, as we discussed some time back. They are also making huge money. Average is what they are making is like 5 lakh 6 lakhs per year. Okay, then we also have many such options. I think uh, let me see a couple of questions here before we move further. Career provide experience and learning for future, and what kind of extra courses we can do, sir? Okay, so Venkatesh is asking a very good question as to what kind of extra courses we can do. Venkatesh, for that I would suggest is, first of all, I need to know as to what stream of engineering you are, okay, and what's your current knowledge level. Okay, if there is certain gaps, then or what kind of job you want to get into, so based on that we can analyze and tell these are the skills which are missing and which you should work for. If I am not there, you can do this homework on your own. Okay, see your stream, see what all existing knowledge you have about that stream which is demanded in the industry, and then look out for what is missing, and then you can do that. Okay, one quick suggestion for all my friends here: if you're looking for job, one best thing you can do is get on to having your profile on LinkedIn. Create a profile on LinkedIn. Okay, and after that what you do is you look out for people of the same profession of yours. Okay, you are starting now, but there will be some people who are already 5-10 years in the industry. Okay, make them your friend, your contact in the on LinkedIn, and see their skill set, and you see what skills already you have, and as per their skills, what are the skills which are still missing in you. So then possibly you can know what are the courses you must study. Okay, so this is one good technique, that you see average of 3, 5 or 10 people and what skills they have, and they are working in the industry. So whatever is gap with you, you can try to fulfill that gap. Naveen is asking another question: how to balance passion and things which is in demand? Okay, very good question, Naveen. In fact, there is no one single formula to do this. But what I'll tell you is the formula, with the success which I have reaped, trying to balance with these two things is: number one, start your career in the passion of your passion field. Okay, and then there could be certain niche which gets into demand. There is a certain area in that particular passion of yours which will be having more demand. Okay, so get onto that side. So for example, so far I never made any online sessions or online courses. So I'm working on now, I'm making my own online courses, and I put them on the apps, Udemy, edX, whatever the apps are there, and that will become my passive source of income. Earlier I was going every college, every institute, on my own places, I was doing only training and career counseling. But now I'm making it online, leave it on the cloud, and that will get me money earned even when I'm sleeping. Okay, so like this, first get onto your passion side, and then see what is in demand, or how in your nearby field which is more in demand. Okay, so that is what very important. I think that would be the right answer for your question. Raj Prohit, you are asking that question, that till now in this video I noticed that coding is important. What if we don't know coding? Thank you, Raj Prohit, for asking this very wonderful question. If I am not there, I would have, or else I would have given you a chocolate for asking this question. Okay, the answer for this question is: coding is one language. Like Marathi, English, Hindi. Coding is also one language. Now, coding is a language which is used to communicate with computer. Okay, so you need not know coding thoroughly from beginning to end. No, not required. My daughter, I'll give you one real example which happened with me. I know a particular website wherein the kids can go and do coding. I told my daughter, I showed her the first level in that this is the way you should do the coding. Or she doesn't know the coding is happening. It's a block. She will just drag and drop, and the code is written. That some Minds game is there. Okay, so that game, she coded for that. So one level over. After that, I was in the morning hours, I went to take my bath. By the time I took my bath and came back after having my shave and my bath, within that 30 minutes, she happened to complete the rest of the 9 levels. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to tell you. The coding is so easy, even a kid can do. So you need not become being an automobile engineer. You need not take the complete programming course. What you need to know is what programming does, or what are the features in programming, and how you can use it in automobile. As we know that there is a new word, another disruptive technology. You might have heard of this Bitcoins. Okay, or Bitcoins is a type of cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency uses a particular technology called as blockchain. Okay, now this blockchain is changing the way the currency is being used. And this is part of a new terminology called as fintech, that is finance and technology put together. So now the automobile tech, so now we are having like, teleautomatics, okay, telematics, the telecommunication and automobile industry getting merged together. And that is how the Tesla car was created. Tesla is using internet to check on several things. It has got sensors, it has got cameras, but they are connected to a server. Okay, the second model what Tesla created, it was connected to server. Then they made the third model wherein they break the connection with internet and they try to do it on their own, on the standalone in that car, and it was a very good success. So like this, the two technologies, telecommunication and automobile, was used there. Okay, so like this, the era is changing. My company name is Zenith EdTech Solutions. I am talking about education and technology together. Education and technology. So you become an expert of automobile and IT, or IT and automobile combination. Then you will have huge demand. Okay, the master of one will not survive now. We need to be jack of all, and still we need to be a master of one. Then we'll have a flourishing career. Okay, so that's my simple plain advice for all of you here. Let me go to the next question, where Ashutosh is asking current condition of mechanical engineering in 4.0. See, mechanical engineer, there's a lot to say about that, and definitely automation is long back overtaken that. We have now artificial intelligence and so many other things which are doing so many things for the things. Okay, the industry. So the jobs have shrunk. There are very limited number of jobs which are there, because the technology is making it, instead of 10 or 40 people, only one engineer doing that job. Okay, so that way you need to have those software and those technical tools which are used by the mechanical engineers in the industry. You must acquire those skills. You must get onto that side of acquiring this knowledge. Okay, next, I think Faisal, without your permission, I'm taking up the questions. Okay, please let me know whether I'm doing it right or wrong. We have Shubham who is asking, sir, does online courses will help for career? See, thank you, Shubham, for this question. Definitely it will help, but professional degree matters in India. Okay, you must have a professional degree. These online courses will be a top up. Okay, will be a cherry on the top. This is an added advantage. Only that will not help you in India. But if there is something new which is come, and which is sometime back, like I will tell you, data science. Data science is a course which some of the universities have started in India. I think very few, finger countable now. Down the lane, around 2 years back, this was not there in India. And 2 years back, if I talk about a place like Dubai, they were having a demand of 700 data scientists. 700 data scientists. Vacancies were open. There were no people with data scientist knowledge. Somebody doing a course of certification course of 7 months was getting a job of, say, 3 lakhs per month salary in Dubai. Data scientist job. Okay, now again the flow has started. There are many institutes who have started this data scientist course. So like this, the online courses will help for those things which are not provided by the standard universities. Okay, so but in India, the formal degree is very important. Without that, you will not enter the interview hall. Okay, but these certifications will surely help you to have an edge with those people who already have the same degree like yours. Okay, you are plus them because you have additional online courses or such knowledge already acquired. Because industry will also see that if I take you for job, I need not train you. If I have to train you again after taking on the job, I'll spend more money, I'll spend time. But if you acquire this knowledge online along with your offline engineering degree, then you are industry ready. From the day one, you can be productive to the company. So that is why they will hire you. You get a high chance, you stand a chance to hire first than your fellow classmates. Okay, so that way the online degree will help. Venkatesh is asking a question, sir, can you please explain how can we make payments securely in any website we have created? I'm working on one, but we are having trouble in transaction processes. Sorry, Venkatesh, I would love to answer your question, but somehow I consider it to be out of the context from the topic for our webinar. So somehow I'm afraid I cannot answer it for now, but if time permits, I will definitely, or if any other forum, I will answer. Okay, but for now, let me get on to some other questions. Ashutosh is asking current condition. Okay, we answered. Shazeb is asking how to motivate ourselves sometime. Okay, see, motivation is very important thing. If you are a self-motivated person, you can motivate others. Motivation is something which you cannot take once and leave it forever. Motivation is like a bath. If you take bath daily, you need to look out for your motivation source daily. Okay, so for that, there are three kinds of food what we eat. One is the food for your mind, body. Okay, there are another two food which we don't know is, one is a food for your mind and there is another food for your soul. Okay, so you need to give the food for your mind, and that is reading some good books. Okay, reading some good philosophies which will give you that positivity towards life and other things, that you are self motivated, you are a self initiator, and you go and you're a go-getter and you do that task. Okay, so for that, feed your thoughts. Okay, for now I can only tell you that, or else you have to come to my session where I motivate the people. Okay, or where I do the motivation session. Okay, and let me take up next. Yeah.
Sir, I would like to, are we over with the presentation, sir?
Sorry. Yeah, Faisal, I'm just one or two slides away. It's just a general message, which possibly after answering the questions.
Sure.
Okay. Are you going to help me to take up the questions, Faisal?
Yes, you can continue, sir.
I can continue. Okay, fine. Thank you. Sorry, friends, your questions are flowing very fast. I doubt if I can answer. So somehow now I will take up very few questions from now, and also I will try to answer only to the point. So number one, now I will take is a question from Naveen, where he's talking about mechanical engineer, which programming language is good to take. Okay, so there are many programming languages which depends upon the purpose, whether you are writing a program for web technology, whether you're writing a program for a machine, whether you are writing a for a spacecraft. So every time the language changes based on the platform, the hardware and the software combination. Okay, so but you can do based on the project, then the language changes. So but there are common languages like Python, like R. Okay, so these are the common languages which are very popular. Python is something which is very widely used. Okay, so you can go for that. Something on the database side, you need to know the ABCs of SQL also, the structured query language. I think this would be enough for now, but later on test you can acquire when you go for your job. Okay, Sophia is asking a question, which happens to be better, sir, MBA or a master's? Okay, see, MBA or master's, both is still very generalistic approach. What I feel is we have our own psychology as to where we fit in better. Okay, if you are good on the side of administration management, okay, so your technical knowledge, your BE graduation plus masters in business administration will make you a good administrator or a good manager. Okay, but whereas if you are getting onto a technical side expertise, if you're a CS engineer or if you're an automobile engineer, if you're a mechanical engineer and you expertise into that field, you will go into the production line. Okay, so you can make your career there. So number one, where you want to make your career, and number two, your psychology as to where you fit in best. Based on that, you should decide whether you should go for MTech or ME or you should go for MBA. Okay, so this point of time, with this little knowledge, I cannot guide you completely. Okay, next one, Yadav Neeraj is asking a question: which field has more scope in mechanical engineering? Okay, mechanical engineering has got several fields, but as I was telling some time back, the mechanical engineering plus the IT field together, a combination will make a huge success. So in that way, in the mechanical engineering also, every field has got its own plus or minus, a very slight difference, not huge difference. But if you have some technical IT part collaborated with that, or some other collaboration, amalgamation of two technologies apart from mechanical, something else, that will make you a more wanted in the industry. And also you must have basic knowledge of all the parts of mechanical. Okay, all the streams of within the mechanical engineering, whatever are there, but expert of one, which is again based on your personality. Okay, is design engineer AutoCAD, MSys and other thing is demand or not? Yes, they are definitely in demand. Okay, different industries uses different tools, different companies uses different tools. Okay, so here it is industry specific, here it is job specific. So it is very difficult to tell whether it is only thing which will get you job. No, again, your graduation engineering is very important, the industry which you want to enter, and based on that you have to acquire or you have to gain the knowledge of that particular software which is popularly used in that industry. Okay, so that's what I can only answer for now. Otherwise, if time permit, I would have given more. Sometimes I meet people who knows internet more than me, and I want to know how to keep ourselves updated regularly towards technology. Saif, for that, I think we must be hungry and thirsty about acquiring technological updates. Okay, read more newspaper, read more technology magazines and all, or like do your own practices. With that you acquire more knowledge. Okay, and otherwise there is no limit for that. There is no limit how much you want to acquire, why you want to acquire. Okay, now acquiring this money, will it help you to earn money? Acquire it. Otherwise just being updated will be of some use, but it will not be of the only thing what you should do. There is no limit. The technology is changing day in, day out. Okay, I'm very techno savvy guy. I do training, I do career counseling, but I use technology to the max. Okay, but that is enough for me. I don't want to get into every thing which is happening in the technology side. To the benefit of my profession, whatever is required, I think, thank God, I possess that much. Okay, so till the time it is beneficial, only acquire that much. Something over knowledge is sometimes dangerous. Don't go to that extent. Okay, our next question is from Jeel Patel. He's asking, is design engineer? Okay, I think we answered this. Okay, and Krutik is answering a question. Question is seeking answer for the question. Skills required for operations management aspirants. Okay, see, operations management is something again still in demand profession, I can say. The logistics and all. Okay, it is still a very demanded skill in the market, but definitely it is all technology based now. Okay, so we need to have those technological softwares which are used by the logistics companies or the operations company. Okay, so that way those things are very important. But the other skills required is your time and stress management, your data analytical skills, how good you are at numbers. Okay, how quickly you can make decisions. Okay, whether you have the ability to do critical thinking. Okay, so these are the skills which would be possibly more required when it comes to operations management. Okay, many questions coming in. I hope Faisal and Afzal sir, we have time to answer. Okay, another 2 questions I think max I will be taking. Okay, let me see if there are certain areas which we haven't dealt with. I would like to take those questions.
Sure, sir, you can take the 2, 3 questions.
Which one should do if not eligible as per MNC's criteria? What one should do if not eligible for as per MNC's criteria? See, I think you are asking a very, I can say is a negative question. Okay, don't be so negative about life and career. Okay, so first of all, have a positivity. You are doing an engineering course, which is something very special course. Okay, not everybody gets into engineering. Number 2, you are doing from a very good college. You are into possibly a very good stream, right? So now it's a high time for you. You sit back and ask yourself as to what are the industry skills which are in demand, and right now do I possess or not? Okay, I don't know at this point of time. I don't know what exactly are the skills you have, Manish. But you acquire those skills, whatever is the gap, and you make yourself industry ready. Okay, that is the only thing what we can do. Don't wait for you to get into industry. You go for 8, 10, 150 jobs, interviews, and then you face the no rejection everywhere. And then you think that your engineering degree is waste. Okay, please don't do that exercise. But the proactive approach, which I would suggest you, is to, as I said you some time back, look out for some people already in the industry in your profession, and what skills, what knowledge they have, and they're successful in the industry. You try to acquire those skills and you be also successful. You are also will be demanded in the industry. Or simply go on to a job site and look out for in your stream what other skills they are asking for. Okay, what softwares they are asking for, what other skills they're asking for. You try to acquire that. Make yourself industry ready. Okay, see, have that positive attitude towards life. Please don't be so negative about life. Okay, then I think next question. Kshitij is asking, sir, don't have interest in core subjects, but topics like landing page, FB ads, creating, designing, copywriting, contents and sales. There is no formal degree for that. Any guidance for that? See, definitely this is something what your social media, programmers or marketers are doing. Okay, social media marketing guys are doing. So it's all about that. So you can get into that course. You have your formal degree. Okay, along with that, you can do any of this course from any of the online apps or websites, and you can acquire this knowledge, and you can do. And here in this field, especially, your practical skills is more important. Degree is just for namesake. If I tell that if somebody comes to me for an interview and tell that they have done a degree certificate course in social media marketing, that is not enough for me. I will simply ask them, okay, here is my website. Please open the the WordPress or some other tool or Google Analytics and tell me how many visitors of my page are there and what kind of visitors are visiting my page, or what page they are visiting more, which is the landing page which is giving me more leads. Okay, so I'll ask him these questions directly. If he's able to give me the statistics, I'll hire that person. If he's not able to give me the statistics and he's got only theory knowledge, I would not hire him. Okay, so you have your formal degree plus this certification course from anybody, any place, but do acquire practical knowledge. Do like I was telling, do some sensitive project, do some real-time projects in the corporate world, so that you get crack the interview. In the first 10 interviews, you get the job offer. Okay, so for that reason, any certification course is okay, but knowledge is more important than certification. Yadav is asking a question, but sir, many companies are not get to the job for basic knowledge. What I do? Yes, as I told you, the industry landscape is changing. Our university curriculum is helping us to get us a title of engineer. Okay, but more so, we get the basic knowledge as we see in the triangle of success, but the skills, okay, the attitude, that matters a lot. So I think you need to work on the skills and attitude which are demanded in the industry. Okay, that matters a lot for all of us to get the crack the job. Okay, I think another one or two question. How can I start my career as a DevOps engineer as fresher? How can I get job and starting salary? Okay, see, whatever we discuss, I think you're asking again same thing. It's the same thing. What you're asking me is I have to repeat everything here. I have to repeat everything here. So that way, you work on, as a DevOps engineers, you look out for profiles or you look out for advertisement where people have advertised for DevOps engineer. So what are the skills they are demanding? Do you have those skills? Your engineering degree has given you those skills. You are industry ready. If engineering degree has not given you those skills, try to acquire through your project, try to acquire through any additional certification, and you will get onto that. DevOps engineers salary range, I think in India, it's ranging between 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs per month. Okay, it's a very huge demanded certification, but unfortunately, some of the people whom I know have done a DevOps course, but they are unable to crack the interviews because you land up in some institutes where you give importance to certificate more. Please, in this kind of latest technological things, there's more than certificate. As I told, for digital marketing also, the knowledge is more important than the certification. Okay, so please acquire more knowledge about that. Okay, so I think many questions we have taken, and I hand over the session back to Faisal now. Faisal, just 1 minute. Yes, let me finish the slides. Okay. So in terms of looking for career, please do not forget to be a good human being first. Okay, being good human is very important. Whatever career we want to get into, definitely that will be helpful for us to get the money what we want. But being a good human will give you a different sense of satisfaction that you feel satisfied and happy about. Okay, with this I complete my topic for today. I hope I was I have justified the time and the efforts you have taken to participate in this webinar, and I hope this knowledge will help you. If this is not a complete knowledge, this is not the end of knowledge, but this will definitely a thought-provoking thing which might have opened the doors in your mind, and possibly you would be having a sense of direction going forward about your careers. Okay, thank you AMP, thank you Amjad sir, and back to Faisal.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session and informative session. And before ending the session, I would now like to invite Amjad sir for a vote of thanks. And before that, I have shared the link for the feedback. So please, all the students are requested to share the feedback. I have once again shared the link in the chat box. So now it's all over to Amjad sir with vote of thanks, and then we will end the session.
Just now, due to power cut issue, I was out of the meeting.
Yeah.
And yes, thank you very much, sir. I have attended the complete seminar. Very interactive seminar. Thank you so much for delivering such a wonderful. Students has interactively attended everything, and they have so many questions in their mind. And nicely, you have explained everything, sir. Just thank you very much for that.
My
and
pleasure,
the students definitely is benefited from this seminar, and whatever the suggestions you have given to the students, like they have to improve their essential skills, that is the soft skills, and they will work on it. And definitely when their students are having knowledge and they are not able to convey in an effective way, then it is really they are not able to survive in the corporate world. So definitely they have to work on this skill, whatever the skills you have shown to them. And on behalf of Team College of Engineering, I'm thankful to Muhammad Zamir sir for conducting such a wonderful seminar for the students of Team College of Engineering. And we expect some more sir talk to our students. Definitely we can plan based on the time some more seminars for the other students also. Thank you much. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Amjad sir. For inshallah, we will continue the session in future also. It's my friend. And before that, before ending the session, I would once again request all the students to please share the feedback so that we can improve in future whatever feedback we want to. So once again, thank you all the participants and trainer Mohammad Zamir Hussain sir and our colleagues for the coordination. Thank you once again. We are ending the session.
Okay, students, where the students have to share the feedback.
I have shared the feedback form in the chat box.
Okay.
The chat box, there is a link. They can quickly click on the link and give the feedback immediately, because after this, the link will not be available. And
Yes.
I request everyone, if you really have felt value add from this session, please do give us also feedback and to AMP and let us improvise. Let us do it better for your college also again and for other college. So please, your feedback is very valuable. Please do share your feedbacks.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
request all the students, please fill the feedback as soon as possible.
Yes, thank you.